pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Going to add, and I didn't have a chance to talk to you, Caroline, did you want to add the historical preservation? No, not this time?
He's out of town.
Okay. So I'll be adding an admin report to the committee reports. Will be the only addition to the agenda. Are you okay with the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Anybody? Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have an agenda.
Sir, can I back up? Are we going into executive, or is it just on here?
It's just on here. I have nothing for it.
So we will not be going into executive?
I have no plans to tonight, no.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So are we okay with the agenda? All right. Minutes from February 2nd.
They all say yes.
They did, I'll say yes. All 6 of them.
Thank you.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Bills in between, $119,185.46.
So moved. Accept it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No. They won one.
Okay. Motion carried. Current claims, $71,473.92.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I got some questions.
Okay.
The Sam's Club Direct, the 65-inch TV we bought. Is there a reason we couldn't try to buy it from Radio Shack or Shopco here in town? I don't understand. I guess we've got local businesses that we really ought to try to support them before we go to Sam's Club. I think Sam's doing fine without our business, but that's just me.
I think he shopped around probably for the best price is what
I guess, well, without anything to compare it to, it's hard to argue that.
I'm not sure Radio Shack.
Yes,
May I speak to that same issue?
sure, if you,
Lindsay Anderson from Hot Springs. I had reviewed some of these payments that were made apparently, and there are a lot of them out of town. We're not talking about just Sam's Club thinking they're living on Hot Springs. But it's more important than just where we buy. It's where we are supported. Sam's Club doesn't give any money to our teams down here. They don't give any money to the after prom party. They don't give any money to the Friends of the Plunge or the Friends of the Library or anybody else. They don't give us anything. I don't think Menards has donated a lot to this community.
we only use Menards when we can't get the
You
product locally.
can't, so
Yes,
you never buy
everything.
lumber there, you never buy anything that can't be bought here in town.
That is something that we watch really close on Menards, because we do support Pro Builder Ace where we can. It's almost always things that we
Okay.
cannot get locally for
Then
Menards.
why can't we get those things that we get at Menards locally? We're talking gun, knee pads, safety glasses, repair materials, cleaning supplies, repair materials. These weren't emergency repairs that needed made, I don't think.
I
I'm just looking at the account they came from. We had a big project, and it could have been planned for, and if they weren't here in town, perhaps we could have ordered ahead of time from the local supplier. Same with television. The same with, I see a Shopco in here on the very same day, and we have a Shopco here in town. Maybe it was purchased here, I don't know. But it was the same day and the same account. So an assumption would be made that it was a trip to Rapid City to buy everything they could. Dace Hardware, $1,000. Hopefully that was here in town the next
All of
day.
them were, they were all
That
here.
was the next day.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you go back another page to Hilliard, there was $400. They probably have some stuff we don't have here. But $782 of supplies at Menards that you couldn't buy here. I have a hard time really believing that. And I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm not anti-plunge in any way, okay?
I think Theodore did look into all of those. We asked him to do that.
And he has been advised several times to buy locally.
The money
when he
savings
can.
is not the bottom line. It's who comes back and supports this town, and it's our local businesses.
Yeah.
We can afford to pay a little more. I just challenge these people to go to them and ask for donations up there instead of here.
I think you have a very good point, and we can look into maybe going into contracts with local grocery stores or something like that as opposed to,
Okay, thank you.
but yeah, thank you.
In addition
I
to that,
agree with you. For one thing, ProBuild has a mighty big store in Rapid City. They can get anything that Menards can get.
And Gary can get
They do go
anything
ahead.
here, yeah.
sometimes the businesses here will match the prices up there, and even if they're a bit higher, we save on gas during that.
And we spent $40 on gas just getting there.
Yeah.
And
I
the
think
employees' time.
if the department heads are instructed, just buy here, do it.
That ProBuild
And
did
they are.
have things coming from Rapid to us that we wanted.
They have an
Right.
extensive calendar to work from as well. You're
But
absolutely
when you
right.
spend money in Rapid City at ProBuild, that money stays in Rapid
Right,
City.
exactly.
All of it. Pays their employees.
You're absolutely right. If we plan ahead, we can get businesses in town to get us the supplies we need. To come from the right spot, we'll definitely move forward wherever we can.
That's
Bring
just-
more business, keep it.
That's management to plan ahead.
We agree, and that is how they're instructed.
I got
You can try
another,
harder.
on the last page, we've got $780 to Kara Hagan. Why are we allowing citizens to go buy stuff and then wanting the city to reimburse them? I don't think that's a normal procedure.
She was shopping for Theodore. You know, those were things they put in the plunge tub.
So why didn't Theodore, I guess, just talk to these people and get it himself?
He is in Rapid.
No, he was not for this.
What? During that time sometime.
Well, this is not normal, I guess, is what I'm saying. We don't just ask anybody off the street to go buy stuff and then reimburse them. That don't happen.
I think she was asked by the mayor to do some redesigning, so something to do with designing.
Well, she was working with Deanne, who Deanne is part of the committee to, the beautification committee for the plunge. She was actually working with Deanne. I have no ability in that area, so it wasn't me.
Well-
But, no, in the design, that was Deanne working on
In your business.
it.
I did ask the municipal league today about that bill from Karen, and I'm sure they did a lovely job, but our question was, I think it was Laurie I talked to, who authorized a private individual to shop for the city, and that needs to be established, because normally you don't just get bills from private individuals.
That would have been the department head that is managing that budget. So Theodore. I agree,
Maybe it could have
it's
been
not
handled,
standard.
maybe Theodore could have submitted the bill under him instead of the way it was.
And we've discussed doing it more of a standard process. So, I agree it is a non-standard way of doing things, but it was in the middle of closure and people were trying to be helpful. Any other discussion?
I'm gonna bring this up again, the camera. We spent a lot of money on cameras, and that had, and the, I forgot what page it was, that didn't have the golf course on it. Golf course bought theirs last year,
That's correct.
and it was budgeted for this year. For the golf course, yeah, it's under this year's budget. I checked into it. They bought it last year, so this money here wasn't on anybody's budget for these cameras.
And we're still gonna get a bill for the Mueller Center too, correct?
$14,610.
No, we did not do the Mueller Center.
Again, I don't know who okayed it. I'm sure the plunge can't afford $7,730 for cameras.
Well, the director disagrees and authorized that.
Until I guess we see something where it says they're making money, I disagree with him.
We have a lot of lawsuits that generate from the plunge. We have a very expensive institution there that we need to protect. We've had an attempted break-in. I believe I provided you all the reasons a couple weeks ago. I also have the insurance company coming tomorrow to actually probably enhance what we've already done. So this is possibly just, I wouldn't say a start, but it could.
So, again, why did we put them on the police department?
Because the police chief requested it.
Oh.
And is using his budget for
They
it.
were scared.
The Mueller is
We
listed
have
on
a-
your cameras for city government buildings.
We didn't do the Mueller.
I know, but it's listed as a place that you want them.
A place that the
It's supposed to
director
put in the-
requested them, yes. We have problems out back by the Veterans Memorial. That has been graffitied, I think, a couple times in the last month.
Well, excuse me for interrupting, but one day I was sitting over there, and the gentleman who was with me is in the audience. We was eating sandwiches at Subway, talking. There's kids sliding off the back of the roof. So I called over and said, you know, you got kids sliding off the back of your roof onto the shed, playing back and forth in the shed. Not one person went out there to look. Never did go out there. We sat over there for another hour and nobody ever did go look. So they must not be too concerned about the building.
And I was referring to the Veterans Memorial that's getting graffiti in the back parking lot.
Well, my problem is,
The building.
all of this should have been bid at once, instead of doing piecemeal.
This is the company that we already use for our IT.
But it should have been maybe put out for bids.
They were probably 50,000 less than the other bid we got.
Did we get bids from other companies?
Yes, we did, when Harley was, we got him last August.
$25,000.
To help us do the budgeting, so I know it was in the budget.
Well, the reason I'm saying this is because it was getting upwards of approaching the $25,000 mark, and then you get into some legal territory.
Right. That's,
I think it was mentioned, it was on your wish list of things you wanted, is where I had it written. I know where was it approved.
These are several different department heads and different budgets. We're trying to run the city hall.
I know, it's still, it should have been, I've had someone in the public contact me about this, and I've called legislative audit, we've got to find out about how this was done.
And
Because it's under the 25,000. It's under that, but it still may not have been done correctly, because it's all one thing, and yet it was done piecemeal. Anyway, I'll find out, let you know.
And we have the insurance company coming tomorrow to tell us what more we need to do per their guidelines.
I know that was what Harley was supposed to have done and didn't do.
Yeah, and they're coming tomorrow, so I'll talk to them tomorrow, probably about 4:30 tomorrow, if anybody's interested. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
have to pay our bills. I'm not even sure how that works out then.
It's tied and you can't break the tie, so it has to stand that bills won't be paid tomorrow.
You guys really don't want to pay our bills?
I won't pay everything but cameras, I think it's done wrong.
What if
I
you
think
pulled-
you did it.
What if we pulled the cameras out?
I think we need to talk, Craig, I invite you to come and talk to our insurance company tomorrow.
I'll do that.
But
No, I won't. I won't be in town.
What if we took those out until next, for 2 weeks?
the cameras. She has to call. But there's a lot of people not gonna get paid.
Can make a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
All in favor with the cameras removed? For all departments?
$14,000 for camera.
It's on the last page.
Last page.
I've got it.
Okay, I want to see a better job, these guys shopping local.
For the cameras, you said?
No, everything.
Okay.
They can get prices and
Craig, you do realize these are all these different accounts, and these department heads have approved this in their
What
budget.
department head at the city hall approved that one?
What's that?
What department head at city hall approved those at city hall? Because you can't spend money, so who approved cameras at city hall?
This was something that Harley and I worked on,
wasn't in the
and it was
budget.
presented at budget.
It wasn't in the budget.
I disagree.
You showed me on your budget thing that it says cameras on it.
It was in professional services or wherever we pay for IT services.
It wasn't because we didn't agree to it, council. It was a
Um,
wish list. It's not-
Well, everybody else who just put cameras.
There's a
in the
motion in
building-
the second not to pay for cameras right now.
For this bill's, yes.
This bill.
We can oppose it.
So not paying our IT company, do we agree to pay our other bills? All in favor?
You got to vote on.
What line item is the
The
item
very
on
last
that?
page,
No, that's fine.
the 14,000.
217583.
I want to hear from Rod Stewart and Rich.
And I'd like you to also listen to what our insurance company has to say.
They will not be the ones that make that decisions for me. Anyway, it's just the $14,610.
Is it all in favor to remove Black Hills Technology, 14,610?
We haven't voted.
That's what I'm asking.
She's asking.
She's asking.
That's the motion.
So all in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Opposed?
No.
No.
Evidently, they don't want to pay the bill either.
Maybe they want to pay all the bills. So are they just two?
That's-
Three.
You guys are a lot of fun tonight.
Tim,
Well, I think we have to pay our bills, so do we want to propose something else?
I think our insurance was actually cheaper by having these items on our insurance, and that Scott did review that with our insurance company when he was here. I do remember him talking about that, and it is a safety for us, just as much as any legal thing that we can have on our
It may
budget.
not have been done correctly, and I'd just like to know before we pay them that.
Make a motion to table it until the next meeting on that line item.
And I'll second
Black Hills
that.
Technologies and pay the rest of the bills.
isn't that the same
You
as
wanted
what
to
Get
you
us
do.
out.
It's the same, it's just different words
That's the same
No,
thing.
you just table it, you
You said you didn't
decide
want
not
to
to
pay
pay
it.
it.
until next meeting.
Okay.
This works the same way.
We're
She's
going to do
actually-
another one.
Okay, so to table our IT company,
Paying
payment for these cameras until the next meeting on March 2nd. And pay the rest of our bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right. Personnel or communications from the public. I do not have anybody request anything specific. I guess I still don't. Okay.
How's the health materials going? You know,
I
feel
can't even-
that way. Every truck leaving the town, they carried our money out. Very simple.
We did talk to the Hills Material last week or so, and it's not something they're really interested in, so it would have to be more of a discussion than this.
Very simple. Make a motion, amendment, and get the tax for gravel what they're hauling to our town. That's all. Very simple. Our money going out of the town. They're carrying Nebraska.
I'm not sure what options we have there, but we will look at it. I know I keep telling you that, Wally, but
Right.
as you can see, I've got interesting issues that have taken my time. So, thank you. You got Wally there? Okay. Anybody else? Next time you gotta come to the podium.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
I bring you something else.
Okay. So there you are, Adam, here on here, a new hire. I want us to
Turn away from you.
special notice of all of the volunteers that helped with the plunge closure. It was incredible. There's a couple more I want to add. Deanne was there, George and Perry were there, Nolan was there, Steve Wienia was there, and Billy Morrow was there as a citizen to help as well. So just an incredible effort there that was amazing. Resolution 2015-13, adoption of the Southern Hills Golf Course rates for 2015. Does everybody have that in their package? Okay.
I'll make the motion to accept this with a $20, with a 25% discount for all Hot Springs citizens,
I'll second that.
just like we did at Plunge.
For everything? Every item?
For the
Like seniors,
membership.
additional, like 25% additional off of the seniors rate?
Well, the
25
membership, yeah.
Seniors.
Okay.
That excludes range passes.
Well, you know, I mean, like at the Plunge, you know, they get the punch ticket that's cheaper than a membership to swim and stuff, so.
I'm just asking for clarification on the motion, so that we know what we're going.
Yeah, just the membership.
Just memberships?
Yeah.
Okay.
Annual season pass memberships? Just, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get everything. They get discounts on it.
Are you applying this to storage too?
No, just the membership.
The rates?
So I don't think they get discounts if they use a locker down at Plunge. They shouldn't get a discount for storing their card up there.
It's just for memberships only? Not for daily green fees?
Just the membership.
So season passes, so the things in section A, all things in section A?
Have you looked at this, how this would affect revenue for the golf course after doing that change?
I'm sure it will.
I'm
It
just
does
trying
the
to-
Plunge too.
Decrease, you know by what percentage or how
I
many
don't.
residents?
25%.
No, but
But you still just want to
they
extend
said,
it.
they said the memberships were way up because of it, so it's right at the golf course too.
Some dice to roll out doing the research first. Really want to consider that?
They were
No, I
very,
don't want to consider it.
Okay,
they were very concerned about that, that's why it wasn't working.
there's a golf course.
Well, we could have talked about it, I brought it up 2 or 3 times, and everybody just said, well, we'll wait until this comes up, and then now all of a sudden this is out, and we never
Not
talked about
this-
it.
No, they did talk about it.
This was,
It was talked
your idea
about.
was presented to Jason. This was brought to the golf board as well for their approval, and this is what they believe is the best representation of fair rate of pay for golf memberships.
But if you're doing it at the plunge, you should do it here.
And that's what this discussion's about. You want to blanket the policy across all entities.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure. Oh, there you go. Oh, did you get him?
I mean, I understand what Craig's saying, and I think that's an excellent idea, but if, I mean, for my recommendation, in the future, I think we should look at maybe raising the rates, like you said, for maybe non-residents of Hot Springs, but because we're looking at a potential revenue loss by doing this, I say we just, I mean, I would recommend just doing business.
Well, yeah, but if we do it, maybe more people get memberships and they'll be up.
I agree, I mean, I think we,
I mean, that's what the plunge did, and look how many members they got prior to what they had.
and until we collect the data a little bit more on this, I think that, you know, that's a great idea. And I think that going into the future, we could do that, but, I mean, if we, I don't know how many actual season pass holders live within the city limits, but if it's over 75%, that's a significant loss.
I was gonna say too, the budget
So-
was addressed with it not that way,
Do
so.
you
the
want to
plunge
take
was.
this back and redo this with that in it and maybe raise the rates?
Our budget was.
We can't do that because it's restricted to only a maximum of 5% increase for up until the year 2016. This year, we had a lot of restrictions because of the 5% increase up until 2016. Reviewing this with during the long-range plan, we looked at how we can maximize revenue, and it all boils down with collecting as much data as we possibly can, how many rounds of golf each individual is playing. So when we go out and we charge the season passes, it's based on 30 or 25 rounds. But then we also introduce a lot more punch cards, so if an individual only golfs 15 times a year, then they could elect to choose the punch card versus a season pass. But if a person golfs, let's say, 50 to 60 times a year, they're most likely going to be willing to pay that premium price for that membership.
There's a lot of money, $805 for a couple of golf out there.
It's within reason of all the other courses in the Black Hills. That was the recommendation from the golf committee to really stay below that, which we have. We are significantly below. I don't have the numbers in front of me. But for a season pass for a single person up in Meadowbrook, it's over $1,000. And at the other courses, it's usually up from there. So we're 600. I mean, he quickly realized when he did the assessment on our rates that we are very, very affordable. So that's why I recommend in the future, when we're not restricted to the 5% increase, we can look at more flexibility like that for the people that live within.
That
city
goes
limits.
till 2016, so we have to wait till next year.
We don't have to wait.
I'm gonna stick to my, what I said. I want to stick to my motion. It might not pass, but I'm gonna stick to it. And it was seconded, so.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
So the motion for discussion is 25% off of everything in section A for city residents.
Yep.
I would just make a comment that Craig's making this motion because the plunge, everyone that uses that is given 25% off, so.
Only fair to the rest of the taxpayers of Hot Springs that uses the golf course might not use the plunge.
But I think the
And-
rates
yeah, but what-
proposed would be different.
But what I was gonna say, a solution might be, maybe not tonight, but at some point, stop the 25% discount at the plunge. I mean, they get a lot of discounts there. I figured if some people are paying about $9 a month for everything, if they get the 25% off and then the 30% off, that's 55% off of the membership. Yeah.
Do they have a special department?
Yeah, well, they have it every year. So it's pretty cheap. They could do without the 25% maybe, and
But you're referring to the plunge, right, right now?
It's discussion.
So let's,
There's a lot of talk out here about, what are you talking about, the 25% off from the plunge? What all is the 25% off?
Anybody that lives in the city gets 25% discount.
Memberships off.
For membership only at the plunge.
What was the talk on the 30%?
That was when they have their specials at Christmas time. On
Oh,
occasion, they'll
yeah.
have a special.
Yeah, but you don't get them both together?
No, you don't.
Yeah, but
It's
some
just
people are
30%.
getting them together.
No, it doesn't work out that
Well,
way.
that's not what I was told by Theodore.
No, I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
No.
It's just 30
I
instead
was
of
told
25.
that by people who belong.
How many memberships you got, Jason?
I believe it's somewhere around 150.
150?
And they're mostly residents of?
I couldn't tell you
You
that,
don't
I'm
know.
not sure.
Okay.
I thought the 25% off was just an admission fee. When I went to, just an admission fee of the plunge.
No, it's for membership, because it lists each one of them.
I'm telling you what I paid, and it was 25% off of my admission fee. That's what the girl rang up.
Because you got it once.
It's 25% off the credit card or membership.
Yeah.
Or
Okay, so-
admissions. It's not just membership.
No, I'm sorry, it is just for you to go in.
All rates.
All rates,
All rates are
25% off.
See, because contradicting what you're saying.
No, it's all, it was intended for membership or to access.
Admissions.
Yeah, we need to stick with resolution 2015-13. I have a motion and a second, I think I have a second,
Yes.
for 25% off for residents off of the proposed in red, although they're not red on here,
No, they're not.
rates. So all in favor of that?
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
No.
I think I can break that tie, and I'm going to stick with the
I
rates
think
that
it's
were.
spending money, so, right?
It's revenue.
It's setting rates.
If I was,
So then you're saying it's okay for the plunge people to
But he
get
wouldn't
that
have
discount, but
anyway.
not the golfers?
I'm saying that a lot of work was done
Have
to
break
determine
tie
the
for
proposed.
anyway.
Don't forget to put that in the paper.
It doesn't pass.
Yeah, it's
Three is great, without you.
We have to set rates for the year.
I don't know, but.
So what he
You don't have
proposed
to vote.
failed, but I'm not voting. I'm trying to get something done here. Resolution 2015-13, the 25% failed, so what is proposed is still on the table here for discussion. I can get a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2015, the way it is written.
I'll second it, but I'd like the golf course committee to look at a possible membership drive with some discounts for city residents. And let the committee, let it come through your committee and do it that way instead of us trying to dictate to you. That'd be my opinion.
Well, there was an idea thrown out a few years back by a councilman to give everyone in Hot Springs one free round of golf in hopes that it might renew some, somebody's love for the game and try to up your membership. But in 2 years, that has never been brought back up. So I guess, I kind of agree with Dwight, it really should go through a committee, but, these golf people, they deserve a break too. I mean, Georgia, you were so,
They have a budget, that they already set as
and
of
so does the plunge.
last year.
And the Pledge has 1.9 million, they're still working on it.
We don't know.
But anyway, they're trying to make a revenue.
We gave free rounds last fall to everyone for their water bill. If they brought in their water bill stuff, they were able to get a free round of golf. So that was done last year. The bottom line is what we're looking at here is, if we're trying to close the gap on the deficit of the golf course,
And so we're trying to maximize revenue by a different rate structure. I have no problem with whatever rate you guys set, but it's just when we go into the budget times, we got to look at what we can do with that money that we bring in and how far it's going to go over. But I mean, the ideas presented are great ideas, and I'd love to entertain them and work with them and to try to bring in as much revenue. But I'm just concerned with if we make it similar or exactly the same. I don't know what Evans Plunge has, but if we make it exactly like Evans Plunge, we could potentially lose a significant amount of money. But I do think Craig has a wonderful idea. I think we can look at that, look at 2016 price structure, try to raise up maybe our out of city limit season pass holders a little bit more, keep the season pass holders within the city limits the same, and work at that structure or that way. So
I think I talked to you earlier about this, and we looked at how many people we did have within the city. And it did come out that we would be losing. So that is why I'm saying no. I don't believe we should change it.
Evans Plunge can lose money, but not the golf course, is what you're saying.
That isn't what I'm saying at
Well,
all. I
it
looked
is.
at the plunge
But
also.
that's what it amounts to.
I looked at the
It's
plunge
okay for
also,
the
and at
golf
that
course,
time I reported
not
that
the
it was
plunge.
about $2,000 that they would be losing for the amount of people if we changed it for the employees. Do you remember that one, Wes?
So let me get this right. It's okay that we want to set this up, but just because the rumor or whatever is that the plunge loses money, so we better set the golf course up so it loses money too?
No.
That's what he's
No,
saying.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I guess it's okay for them to lose money, but not him.
Just try to do it according to the budget that you voted on.
We did it for the taxpayers last time. You guys can come to your own conclusion. I did it for the taxpayers last spring, because I know of a lot of couples that can't afford to golf out there. And they can't afford it. Yes, we do.
Anything else for Jason? All right. So resolution 2015-13 as proposed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
It's Schwarzenbach and Romy, no?
But it is gonna go through the committee, right?
Right.
That's the way it's gonna be worded?
So Wes, just to reiterate, too, last fall they had
That's
that-
what I suggested. I don't think it was part of George's.
I'll make the motion so it's clear then, just so that I propose that the resolution 2015-13 is accepted.
And you have to
with it
rescind your
going-
old motion first.
Okay. Listen,
Rescind your old motion, and
Wes,
then you
just a
can...
minute, please.
George, you do it
Just a
correctly.
minute.
Do it correctly.
You're interrupting me. I would rescind my original motion to say that we accept resolution 2015-13 to include it go to the committee for membership, the membership drive to include.
So I have to make a motion.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. 3.
Break this up.
I know we spent a lot of time on these proposed rates, so I'm going to agree to them. I'm working on it for a couple months, so it's not something that we just put together last night. Okay.
For then or against, he wants to know.
Oh, for the rates. huh?
You wouldn't say motion passed.
Motion passed, motion carried. Okay. Resolution B, Ed, Assistant Airport Manager position. And the job description and wage scale are in your packets. 2015-12.
Would like to clarify the top of the page, it reads the resolution 2015-12. On the agenda, it should be 2015-14. If the motion does carry to approve this position, the signed copy will read 2015-14, the resolution number.
Thank you, Nolan. Ed's present, if anybody has any questions.
So Ed, you're still gonna do all the managerial part of the job?
I think we need to get a motion in a second first.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second.
Okay, now we can discuss. Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, I'll keep the management position by hiring another permanent part-time. I'll be saving the city some money by not having to pay annual leave, sick leave. It's basically one position, 2 people filling. So it'll be a week on, week off, advisory board, and the city people, some of the city people, and since it's advertised on all the AirNav and other sites on the web that we're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, year round. This would be a year-round position instead of the 3 months part-time that Wayne Harris put in effect when Don was mayor. Wayne didn't want to work full-time. So it fits within the budget for going full-time, year-round, 8 to 5. Like I say, it's one position, just 2 people filling. It's like it was before, a week on, a week off.
So who gave the airport the permission to put in the book full-time,
That's
8 hours a day? Never used to be. What was it?
Yeah.
No, when you just took over, it wasn't 8 hours a day, not in the wintertime.
Not when I was working there. When Pete Miller was working there, it was full-time. Yeah.
Was it? Because it was part-time when you started working there.
Yeah. Because Wayne took over for Keith after Keith passed away. And Wayne didn't want to work full-time. He said he didn't think it needed to be full-time in the wintertime.
But in the book, it said it's closed half a day in wintertime. I said, who said it's okay to put in there to be open 8 hours a day? Did you just do that yourself? You are the supervisor, I guess you could do that, but I'm just curious.
It's not in the book right now.
Oh, it ain't, you want to go in the book?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. I misunderstood
Advisory
you.
board.
Sorry about that.
Feels that since it's on the internet, all the websites on the internet concerning the airport, that it's still open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, they want us to go back to that instead of,
I see what you're saying, okay.
like I say, it's just one position, 2 people filling it. If I went full-time, then it'd be sick leave, annual leave, paying my wages scale. And this way it's saving the city money.
I make a motion, we accept this resolution.
Yeah, you did.
Did we? Yeah.
Why?
Good job.
Any other discussion? Thanks, Ed.
Good.
All in favor of resolution 2015-14?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thanks, Roy. Yes, Ed?
How are they gonna post this position in
We'll
the
work on that
paper?
together
or
later. So I have to.
Yep. Nolan now has something to do. Just kidding, he's a busy guy. All right. Old business. We changed some wording in resolution 2015-11 for the request to table it at the last meeting. No, maybe you can give me exactly.
Last and order, where we designated fund. I don't have the resolution in my packet, but
So if,
the last stanza, whereas, it ends in monetary and/or in-kind contribution, allows flexibility to either an in-kind contribution or a cash contribution, match it. That was requested in the last meeting to change to that position.
it the wording you were looking for, Carolina? And this was one of those.
That's what we talked about.
Have we had a motion on this, or we
It was
discussed it?
tabled last time.
So I need a motion and a second here, correct?
I'll make a motion that we accept it with this verbiage.
Anybody?
Dies from lack of a second.
Motion failed.
Yep.
All right, new business A, Misty, you can help me with this. Discussion and possible motion to sign the intergovernmental contract for the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance.
We are owners members in the South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance, provides our insurance, and they've transitioned performance of administration, marketing, and member services from a third-party company called Hagen Benefits to an in-house performance that saves, the major change saves all of the members money in the end. What they're asking is, we've had legal counsel review the contract. She's given permission, but advised that we should get permission from the council to sign any new contract. But due to the transition of performance of those services from the third party to in-house, they just have a new contract to continue those services from us.
Is it Carol? Did she look at that?
And if you'd like to read, it's about 35 pages, so I don't have copies for everybody, but if you want to review the contract, you're welcome to, but I'd like permission to sign it on behalf of the city.
This is kind of a housekeeping type of item. It's not anything new, it's just,
We've used them quite a bit, actually. I'll make a motion that we accept it.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item B, motion to approve temporary alcohol beverage license for Woolies for casino night.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to surplus airport hangar doors.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Information on reseeding outside wildlife fence at the airport. Just star tonight. I think he provided a drawing of where the reseeding would go. I'll give a little background. Because we can no longer spread sludge out at the airport, we no longer can grow a crop, which we were doing sedan grass, which is too tall for FAA requirements. So we're looking to reseed back to doing a hay crop out there. And I'll let you go from there, Ed, if there's anything else.
Okay, the map, I give you anything inside the yellow boundary is West Farm and then sedan grass. So that needs to be reseeded into a pasture or hay type crop. I called Warren Chemical and talked to their man up there. That's specialist on this type of stuff. And, two back sheets are different types of seed crop, grasses. You can go that route on them, mix them both, or do one or the other. Fairway is 48 a pound. The Wahi Intermediate is $6.50 a pound. He also said they have a 60 seed dryland pasture type mix, which I think they probably should go. That is $3.67 a pound. And Tracy directed me to call Tom Wowing, he's out by Laurel, there's some marking out there. And Tom he was supposed to come tonight, but he has a no-till disc in that. And he interested in discing this up and reseed. At the time I talked to him, he said that it's $16 an acre that he would do the disking, and he recommended doing it twice. I'm not sure if he does it twice, then seeding is $16 an acre too. There's approximately 144 acres that need to be done. And for the tilling, the drilling, and the seed at the 367 pasture blend, it comes to $12,637. You can see on the map, the lines in there, that is proposed areas that Peatling want to do mining on. That is in the process, but with the FAA and the government, you never know when that's going to take place. It could be next year, it could be never. But we got to do something with what was farmed. Just can't let it go back to weeds like it was before.
So you do this next year? Is that what you're talking about, or this
Be
spring?
this spring.
Is it in your budget?
No, I didn't have control outside the wildlife fence. When I turned my budget in, I was with Tracy / the city had control of that area. Now that no more sludge can be spread, the FAA recommended that I take control of the whole area again like it should be. So, no, it wasn't in my budget.
So if you didn't have the money, could you wait another year and then do it next year when you have the money in your budget?
Well, we can, like
I think the
you're
sludge
gonna
is.
spend more money on
Yeah.
spraying weeds than that too, so, robbing Peter to pay Paul, trying to do the best, If we get it planted this year, next year we.
How much did you say? $12,000?
Roughly $12,637.
How much more seed you gotta buy? Because you have some, don't you?
I got 150 pounds left over, and that would be enough to do 15 acres.
Does the inside fence need seeded again?
Well, I guess I got kind of a question. I wonder if maybe the sewer department shouldn't maybe
I was
pay
gonna
for
say
part of
the
this.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, instead of maybe putting your budget in the hole, I'm kind of thinking maybe we should talk to Carol and see what she thinks about that. Because honestly, I mean, they should pay for part of this too, because you were taking care of their problem.
Well, like the
So to speak.
FAA asked me how much did the city pay all these years for spreading sludge.
So I'd make the motion, I think, the sewer plant, pay part of it, if not all of it. I mean, because I think they've got money there.
I second that.
But I guess contingency that Carol Booth says that we could do something like that.
Well, I'm just presenting it to you guys.
Well, and I'd like some more information, I guess, too, on, if we shouldn't maybe throw a bid out there in the paper, just,
I guess that's what I'd like to see. I know we need to do it, but I'd like to see a bid on it. And then we can, once we figure out how much it's gonna cost us for sure, then we can figure out where we're gonna get the money from. And I do agree with you that the sewer department do the fact that.
Well, I did get a motion in a second, so I do have to follow up with
Unless
that.
they retake those back.
well, I'll rescind my motion, I guess. I'll rescind my motion until we get some more information, but I guess that's what I'm gonna pursue with, I guess. But I'd like to maybe get some more bids, make it fair for kind of everyone, instead of just having one person walk in and say they're gonna do it.
Well,
We don't have to get bids, just
I'd say it's
proposals.
Well,
Yeah.
RFPs, I mean, we
I'm
can
open
do.
for anything.
Okay.
If you guys can come out and look at what we gotta do, and
We can't make
if you have ideas, anybody has ideas on
You're
other
right.
people that are interested in it,
Yeah.
That-
Okay, so what I think I'm hearing is I'll ask Tracy to look into getting some RFPs or you know, bids, proposals from your guy and maybe somebody else, see if we're in the same ballpark. Could you also tell me what you think we could get for the hay crop? Does that offset the cost at all?
Well, last year we got what, yeah, 5,000?
2,000.
Depends on the rain.
Yeah.
But it was a smaller area than
It was
what we're talking
inside
about.
wildlife.
We got 2,000.
And outside,
So there's the potential for breaking even pretty quick on this, selling the hay crop, right?
Well, there's also another issue with the water. I guess the committee needs to figure that out and come to us.
You know, I talked to Tracy a while back about going out with a blade or something and making that land so we could irrigate it. Because we could do that. I mean, that could be irrigated pretty easy.
Do you need to irrigate hay?
Can.
Grow a lot more, especially if we're gonna pay for the water.
Well, we haven't agreed to pay for the water. That's another
Flood
4,000.
irrigating's a 24-hour deal.
And that's another $4,000.
And then the wages go up and everything else. When's the ideal time to plant?
this spring.
April, May?
Well, I'm trying to get the city fire marshal, chief, to come out and burn our weeds off before we do this.
The second meeting in March can come before the council with at least three RFPs.
Then explain to the council on that piece of equipment he wants to use on there like he did me today.
It's a vertical drill or till. It's basically a big disc on the back that's got like the old push mowers. It's got the paddle wheel blades and it chops. They also call it a corn chopper, stalk chopper. Chops the corn stalks or stand grass in sections of stalk. Chops it up to about 3 inches. Makes it easier for decomposing and seeding, reseeding. And they can do it a lot faster, pull it a lot faster than the normal disc. Tom was saying when I talked to him on the phone that just the regular disc would roll over more so than cut into it.
So
This is a real heavy piece of machinery, so it chops it up pretty good.
So in our proposals, we should ask for that piece of equipment to be used.
Not too many people report.
Well, let's talk with Ed and Tracy tomorrow and get this rolling so we can possibly do something on March 2nd.
I'd like to make sure that Ed works real close on this.
He will be definitely involved.
I'm gonna put this right on you, buddy.
Farmer Ed. All right, any other discussion? Comments? All right. We're gonna go to item E.
Thanks, Ed.
Discussion and possible motion to move the start time of city council meetings from 7 PM to 5:30 PM.
I see this as putting hardship on people that work.
I do too.
It's pretty tough for somebody to get off at 5 o'clock, go home and shower and eat, to be here at 5:30, but
That's if they get off by.
Also, it might make someone who's thinking about running for city council in the future
not want to.
not want to.
Or it might make them want
Yeah, I was gonna say, they could go either way on that one.
But I believe this is an ordinance, so we can change it by motion tonight anyway.
Yep,
I believe this is an ordinance.
it is.
The start time of the meeting.
You
so-
can.
But, I mean, there's nothing wrong talking about it, but we can have a motion on it.
I guess from my perspective, it really, in my position currently, it really don't make any difference to me. So, however, things may change down the road too, you never know. But right now,
I could go a little earlier, but I could go at 5:30.
That's what the motion could be, is to have a different time, and we can set a hearing for it.
we had this change when I was on school board, and that was so the kids could stay and go to the meetings. And it actually was pretty nice, but depends on how late.
I tried to get a Republican Party meeting moved from 7, and nobody wanted it moved. We did get it moved a little bit, but for people that are working, they just didn't want it, you know. They wanted it.
Well, I could see, maybe 6 about the earliest, but I don't see the need for it. That's just me.
I think one of the things that was discussed is because there's programs for the high school and other activities for the school down there too, sometimes at 7.
They don't use this room normally.
No, they use the Mueller Center.
I guess
So
it's about choices.
If it was earlier, would the meeting be going on then while they're having gymnastics practice?
Probably.
Is that just from somebody attending, that's an issue because we can't hear when they're running around out there, and everything. It makes it harder for us when they're doing gymnastics.
Good idea.
Yeah, it don't matter to me what time the meeting is, it is. County
Let's see.
commissioners meet, what, 10 in the morning, don't they?
But they'll last all day sometimes
Nobody's on the
too.
meeting.
Was there a comment? Oh,
Say
wow.
like the county commissioner meet at 10 o'clock, and how many people we got a meeting? Now, if you have a 7 o'clock, you have a right time. In the winter, it's kind of maybe a little bit too late, but in the summer, don't change it, leave it like it is.
Okay. I think we're okay with discussion, right?
It's discussion of possible motions.
Okay.
Watch it.
All right, I'm going to move to committee reports. Georgia, I'll let you do admin and enterprise. I didn't do enterprise. It should have been admin.
Yeah, the admin committee met on Wednesday, February 11th, and Carl and I and Tim were councilmen there, and then we had Justin Hain, he was representing the employees, and Misty was there, Cindy and Nolan. And we talked about some personnel policies for Chapter 7, and we were looking at different options for our annual leave. We changed, I think they worked on changing and met with the employees to change it so that they get 4 hours per pay period of sick leave rather than the 3.7 or something. It was an odd number. It's easier to figure, and it's probably a little more efficient that way. We did discuss some of the library compensation issues, and we don't have that tonight, but we probably will bring that up later. Employee use of the golf course and Evans Plunge facilities, we did have a policy that will be recommended. We did do some research into that for the reimbursement from, or how we can do that with IRS and everything involved. And all employees can receive a 20% discount if we decide to write that up that way. Our city organizational chart, we're reworking that with the planning administrator, public works engineer. We did talk about the new employee for the assistant airport manager position. We proposed moving the city council meetings, which we just talked about. And we've talked about a logo for the city for our headers, because we do have kind of a busy one. There's a meeting that will be coming up with Pete doing FAA, I believe on the 20th, or whenever that gets arranged.
I'll talk about that.
Yeah. And I think that's pretty much all that was visited on that.
Okay, thank you. All right, Parks and Rec, Wes?
Yep, we had a meeting. There were some folks there that would like to get a community garden going. I see there's a couple of them in the audience tonight, and sounds to me like the SDSU extension is behind them 100%, and I believe they had a meeting today. And got some more community support. since we met, I don't know where you're at with your other garden spot, but they would really kind of like to be up there by the library. And I guess I really don't see why they shouldn't be. I mean, I have a book here if you would like to look at. It kind of details different gardens and different towns and stuff. And I really don't see why they couldn't be. I think it could be an asset up there.
Wes, could I ask,
May I
are we
say-
gonna bring in topsoil then, and do we have a water source there?
There'll be raised bed gardens. And there's plenty of water there.
At the end of our garden time, we will definitely, we close it down at a certain date, and everything is cleaned up, so it will always look nice. I have checked with a lot of other places, and they all have their gardens in parks or where it's very visible. In fact, San Francisco even, or not San Francisco, but California, even put theirs on the front lawn of the Capitol in Sacramento. So it's not going to be ugly, it's going to be beautiful. And we don't plan to fail. So, and I know that going out a couple miles out is going to put a real hardship on several of our people.
Wes, what about expecting the city to fence it, furnish dirt, and water?
No, they're gonna raise their own funds, and like I say, the SDSU is gonna probably get behind them and help them with different funding.
Yes, we have somebody coming from the eastern part of the state.
They're gonna pay their own water bill and everything.
And they will be.
I don't.
For water?
The city's in a position.
What was that about water?
They're gonna pay their own water bill and stuff?
Yeah, we pay our own water bill.
And put up their own fence?
We'll pay for all of our raised beds and all our soil that comes in. All we need is a good fence. And we need to have a water hookup or whatever. We need some help there.
Can I speak for a second? Just an FYI thing. Earlier in the year, there was a grant application put in. The project hasn't died, but for right now it has, for a gardening spot at the bottom of the viaduct on this side of it too. And that lot could have been leased from the state for like $1 a year. And the only reason I ever bring that up is I always think it's so awesome because it's right off the Trimmer Edition and you can get water easements off of that. So that was just a suggestion.
We'd have to take down 2 trees, and we do not
Okay.
want to do that.
Okay, just thought I'd let you know.
Was that it, Wes?
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak on the behalf, or
Pardon?
anyone else want to speak on?
Wes, I was asked to check into the liability at the last meeting. The city owns the property. We would be liable for any injuries. Our insurance company, the SDPAA, would recommend that we draft with our legal counsel some sort of hold harmless contract, and that would limit our liability.
Yes, we'll do that.
So we need to do that with the county.
If we enter into this agreement with them, that's just something I checked into.
It sounds like they're wanting to move forward. though.
Well, they're still working on another location. I haven't talked to them to see if what they found out on that yet.
Pardon?
That your other location out here at the nursing home.
We did go out and check that, and it is 2.5 miles out.
No, the nursing home over here.
Oh, the nursing home.
Over at the hospital nursing home.
They would like to have, well, they think it's a good idea, let's put it that way, to have the garden there for their people, but they had to bring it up to the board. They didn't say yes or no, and we haven't heard anything.
They do have another spot that they're kind of working on, but
I kind of think that might be a no.
ultimately
Well,
they're.
the water problem is kind of difficult there.
Their pick would be up here, ultimately would be their #1 pick.
You're gonna have a gate that's locked?
Pardon?
You're gonna have a gate that's locked, so just people that.
Yes,
have-
well, that's
I
how
think
they
it was
will
to keep
fence
the
it.
year out on the people. huh?
Well, you can plant stuff on the outside to keep the deer out. Anyway, moving forward here, I
Make it
guess,
pretty.
we talked about the pump for the fountain. I guess Bart already has a new pump because the other one's burned out. We talked about the clock, and I guess it's working again down there. We were hoping for an update from the Parks Foundation, but I really don't know what happened there. Something about they're still waiting for the attorney's answer on this foundation. We talked about the benches and with Bart about checking into some, I guess, better built benches. And we talked about an exhaust fan for the depot. For 3 years, we've been fighting over this fan, and it needs to be done. I mean,
There's a fan there, all it needs is wires, if I understand.
Can I address that?
You hear different stories every time.
Nolan was supposed to kind of check into this.
On the list.
I've worked in that depot for 15 years, and we have never had a fan, an exhaust fan in that bathroom. So I prop the door open when I leave, but first I fan the door a little bit so we get the air exchanged so we can start out fresh in the morning. But I think it's a crime that we are sitting there without
I do too.
an exhaust fan in that bathroom. We're going to be known as the stinky city.
I agree. I mean, it's a pretty simple, straightforward deal. I mean, I don't know. And we talked about, Nolan's gonna, I guess, get some proposals for some lights and some hand dryers in the bathroom at Centennial. Parks have it in their budget, so I guess it's just a matter of getting some prices and getting it done, I guess. Getting the electricity run to it, I guess. Nolan's gonna be checking on that, I understand. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Wes. Just to go in order here for public safety, from Chief Claus, I want you all to know about on March 6th and 7th, there will be a public safety forum hosted by the Hot Springs Police Department at the Mueller Center, coinciding with our job fair. There will be a police use of force simulator for the public to try. The police force will have multiple freebies to give to the public as well, including firearm locks to allow for safe home storage of rifles and other firearms. Also wanted you to know that the reserve officers are in their 3rd week of training. And the chief of police and city administrator are working with a third party, Nixie, is it?
Nixol.
Nixol, that's an L. Okay. To offer free emergency alerts to residents that choose to opt into the program. These alerts would be delivered via text or email. That's our public safety report, and Dwight, Public Works.
We talked about a drainage issue between 4th and 5th Street and University, and we need to put some sort of curb and gutter in there on the south side of the street. And the committee decided to let the city do the dirt work, and we'll contract out the curb and gutter. We talked about the airport seating, which we already discussed.
Is Tracy working on the drainage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tracy's working on it. Brian Spitzer talked to us about the sandstone that the city has stored up by Hills Material, and he's going to keep us advised as to the time frame. And when that time frame comes around, it'd be up to the council to see if they want to surplus some of that sandstone for the possible Castle Manor rehab project. Airport hangar doors, we already talked about that. The sinkhole on 22nd Street has been fixed. It was a leaking cork stop on the water main. Craig brought up that people are dumping shingles in the alley across from Ivy Little. Is that right, Craig?
Anything, but did you give her a call, like you promised?
I cannot do anything right now with that. Need the building official to take action for ordinance.
What happened to our code person. Or, no, or the one that, ordinance, that person that you put in charge of.
Carl. You, Carl.
Carl.
Town.
Yeah, I drove by there too, and they're dumping shingles.
Yeah, we need to do something, I agree, it's just, by ordinance, we cannot do anything for the building official to take action.
Yeah, but you promised me you'd call her and explain something to her.
I should do that. But
We
do
talked
anything
to her
remedy it,
frequently.
though, we cannot actually do anything to a building official in that position to do something.
Can't you do it as acting building official?
If with your approval, I could, yes.
You have a police department that deals with ordinances, or they're supposed to.
But your ordinance assigns that position to the building official. That's all I have to report on that matter.
Your police department still has to deal with ordinances.
Back on track, anyway, we'll try and see if we can get that fixed. The grass, or the matting that covers the grass was coming loose on 4th Street. And Tracy was gonna send some people up to get it refastened.
He did it himself.
They did do it?
He did.
He did it.
That day.
Good. And we had a constituent stop in, wondering why the city has 4 busted light poles and they're not being replaced, and we found out they are on order. And the only thing I gotta say on that is I hope we're going after the insurance companies for these people that hit these.
Yes, we are.
Very expensive.
Yes.
We only know of 3 of those, don't we?
One was a hit and run, but the others, the insurance companies are paying.
And the fire hydrant by the Evans needs replaced. We need to excavate the street there. We do it, so
Yeah, sure.
if we do some work on that street, that might be the time to fix that.
Yeah, we talked to Sean about that, and that'll be, that's on their plans for spring.
And there's also a hole or something developing on Baltimore at 6th that I was gonna go look at, and I never had time to look at it. I will try and make it over there this weekend, take a look at it.
Tracy did say all that grass is coming up really good over there on that hill that they put on it.
That's it.
All right, Misty.
Did you want me to get mine?
Oh, do you want to go, I'm sorry, you tell me. She did not, I cut her off. Go back to Enterprise.
Okay,
right?
yeah. Mueller Center now has a new ice machine and a dishwasher, and they will probably put the old one out to be exited out. Then the plunge had their shutdown, and that went real well. Right at the moment, the HVAC is being repaired. The dry sauna is out of service for the time being. Painting in the front was completed. Exercise equipment is being repaired, and some of it's being updated, and some was donated. Polar Plunge was a big success. Many vendors donated food to and others donated to the food pantry. The different people donated from our businesses here, and that was Woolies, Dairy Queen, Winter's Circle, Hot Springs Chamber, Coffee Kiosk, China Buffet in the Fall River Bakery, JP's Family Dining, Dale's Restaurant, and the Buena Mexican Restaurant. And so we wanted to be sure and thank all of them for their donations. The Wine and Roses had their historical mural for the plunge, and that was a great success. So watch for some of that coming up here pretty soon. We had about 660 hours donated by volunteers to do some of the work down there. You'll have to go down and see all the changes in the colors for the front lobby areas and upstairs, and how they freshened all that up. You'll have to see if you can see the Hot Springs Library featured a model wearing an 1890 replica of a swimming suit. So if any of you have a chance to go on Facebook, I think it's on there, or there's some pretty neat pictures. But I wanted to thank all those people that did all the work to help make that shutdown successful. So come by and look at it, see what you think. Thanks.
Thank you, sorry to cut you off earlier. Now, Misty. Finance.
I just have a couple of things for the meeting tonight. First, I wanted to let the council know that Cadel Thorstensen will be available to present the prepared financial statements for 2013 by the middle of March. If we would like her to come during a regular council meeting, probably the one we have scheduled for March 16th would work. I think her preference would be to have a special meeting dedicated to just the presentation of the prepared financial statements, but I'll leave that up to you guys to let me know what you would like to see. And I'd also like some clarification from the council if at this is the pre-audit and they prepare the financial statements for 2013 and then Donna Danker and Associates will begin our 2013 audit. Would you also like Donna Danker and Associates to come at whatever time Tracy and her team from Cadel Thorstensen come to talk about their work that they're going to do next? Or is it okay for them to come and present the results of their audit after they're done with it? I was a little unclear as to what you were looking for and what you wanted from that. So this is a good time to talk about it. Let me know and I'll try to arrange with them, both parties, one party, whatever you want.
Get back to
Second party
Yeah,
probably wouldn't tell us nothing.
Well, that's what I thought, but she doesn't really have much to say until they have their audit work.
After they get everything that they give us.
So they wouldn't be
We'll get
able to
that-
tell us
yeah.
really anything.
Right.
That'd be my opinion
That was
on
my
it.
They could charge you, so.
Yeah, for coming down.
They charge by the hour, so we would do it unless we need to.
Yeah, not the auditors,
Right.
the accountants.
I've been told that in the past that when they came to meet, like with the admin committee, that other council was just invited to come to that
And that's
committee
usually-
meeting. And it wasn't a special meeting, didn't cost the taxpayers any extra money. And those that are interested could come, and the public too, would have to be posted. So, but it wouldn't be a special meeting where we got paid to come.
No action to be taken, get information sent.
Right, no, it's just, it would be their admin committee meeting that the auditors report to, and other council would be invited to come to that. That's the way it's been done in the past.
That's usually how it's done.
So the regularly scheduled admin meeting is
Or
when?
whenever you have
We
it.
had it in the evening, but it was whenever it was worked out.
They said by the middle of March, they'll be ready for that.
And that's for the
Audit. Yeah, and they will prepare a financial worksheets for 2000.
and then after that, they hand it over to Donna.
And they start working on 14.
And when they get ready, we're supposed to, according to Rod Thornton, they're supposed to meet with us when they start their audit and at the end. That was what he recommended, a pre-audit. This is, most people don't have what we're having right now. This is kind of unusual. But normally, if you weren't dealing with, 2 or 3 years with no audits, we wouldn't have this problem. But he said you had the auditor come in and they would meet with you, the whole council, they get a committee meeting, nothing, no special meeting. Just as they start the audit and when it begins. Instead of just meeting with 2 councilmen and the mayor, the whole council would have.
So you
basically
are
that's all
looking
it's done.
for the auditors to come and visit with you prior to them beginning their auditing work?
I'll check with Rod, he's the one that told me that, and I've got to talk to him about some other things, and I'll have him send you whatever he tells me.
So at this time, can I tell Cadel Thorstensen that sometime in the middle of March, not necessarily at the council meeting,
Right.
we'll pick a time that'll work for everybody for them to come and, okay. All right, and then you'll get with Rod or
I'll
you'd
get
like
with
me
Rod,
to?
so call me tomorrow.
The other thing I have is I am working on getting some scholarship funds to help pay for the expenses, travel, hotel, and the cost of some schools to help me get better in my job. There's up to $800 per year available. I'm going to try to get as much as I can. But one of the requirements for the application is that I need a copy of the city council's approval for the travel to go along with my application. I have the reports workshop that I already went to. Debbie and I are interested in going April 21st to South Dakota Retirement System Authorized Agent Training in Rapid City. So I'd like approval for that travel. There's no cost to that, but the travel could be reimbursed as part of this grant.
When have you learned that?
Because there are new standards with the way that you account for retirement, they've put together, because there's a lot of questions from all of us that are in this field for our governmental accounting statements and the way we report that. This class is going to train us on the requirements for reporting that information. It's a one-day class. It's in Rapid City, so it'd just be the travel again for that. So I need council's permission for
We
that.
can't do it tonight, you'd have to put it.
But you don't need a motion. I just need you to approve the travel, which is already in my budget. So, and if you want to put on the next one, that's fine. But the other class, there's a finance officer school that is 3 days in June in here. That's put on by the South Dakota Municipal League that I'm very interested in attending. It's the only real thing that I needed to the whole job that I do. So a couple nights stay and then the travel for that. So I just need your approval for that travel. And I don't know that that needs to be in the form of a motion. You can just say it's in your budget, I approve you to travel to these classes. So that I
just approve it.
Even if it's in the
We can't do
budget,
it.
it probably needs
Yeah.
approval.
So that's what I'm looking for, so that I can apply for that.
Just list it in the next meeting agenda, so we all say yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll put it in the next,
Yeah.
put it at the meeting
Put it
minutes
on
for the
the
next one.
agenda.
Yeah.
April 1st, so I have plenty of time. April 1st is when I need to have this scholarship application in.
Did you bring that thing from the plunge thing I asked you to bring?
I did.
Can you explain that? Or, because I don't quite understand how, maybe these other councilmen might be able to understand it better.
Yeah. We were discussing the budget for the plunge for 2015, and that budget is off of an expected revenue for the year. And one of the big things that that myself and I think some other council members were questioning is where the figures came from for the expected revenue for 2015, which is giving him the dollars for his budgeted year. You were going to check to see if you could find out where the other sources of revenue listed.
And I asked him, and I guess Carly and him had talked about that, so I couldn't give you an answer on that.
Well, either were thought it was overestimated.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I've been Harley about that.
And that's what I was going to say when we were talking, Craig, Theodore, Carolyn, myself, Craig, we're all wondering if maybe we need to sit down and look at these numbers again prior to all the money being spent, because last year for revenue it was short, and the revenue for this year projected is over what it even made last year. So we might need to, I wasn't here at budget time, I don't know where these numbers came from, but if the facilities director and a couple of council people are concerned, I think this is a good time of year to look at those numbers and maybe make some adjustments before we're at the end of the year.
Ron Gordon has said there's a remedy to that. You adjust both budgets, and I've asked her to talk to him about that. But you all have to adjust your expenditures. He's going to have to do. So,
You have to cut back on your expenditures.
Well, and you
Right.
adjust the revenue too. So that
Thank
covers,
you.
right?
Yep.
That's what we were talking about.
Okay, anything else? Okay, no one?
I'll try and keep mine brief. So I've been in my position now almost 2 months, well, 2 months today, actually. And so I'm finally doing the admin part of the city administrator, working on org charts for every department, so we know exactly what positions are filled. That helps us prepare for what positions need to be filled. This summer, we have the job fair March 6th and 7th coming up. That gives us a chance to know, hey, we need to hire for excellent positions, both some full-time, but most part-time positions. Along with that, I've taken on the role of summer rec director temporarily until we hire for that position. The last council meeting, it was approved. We're still accepting applications, but in the meantime, Joyce did a lot in January and February to gear up for that program, so I'm kind of taking on that until we get a full-time, part-time director in place to do that dedicated, I guess. other items on my to-do list, we worked with the school, the Hot Springs School District, and a school resource officer. And so I prepared the contract for that. In addition, we also have a new updated facilities use agreement that is under review by Carol at the moment. When that gets back to us, I may get it in front of the council, get it in front of the school board as well to update that policy. Other than that, it's been, everyday learning more and more. And just from this meeting, I've got some more things to do tomorrow. So that'll get done pretty quick. That's it.
All right, thank you.
Could we get him a microphone? Because I have a hard
I can
time
project
hearing.
better than that. Usually I stand up, as you guys know, when I'm at work. So this is a bit different. I don't quite.
I heard a hard time hearing you earlier too.
This resource officer, he's gonna work at school all day?
It's a proposed school resource officer that what we proposed this morning, and this is only a draft proposal, is a three-way partnership. It'd be a three-way agreement between the city, the school, and the county. And how we had it drafted in the first version, of course, this is all subject to change upon the party's approval of it, is that throughout the school year, they'd be in the schools for 10-hour days, 4 days a week. And then during the summer months, especially when it's busy in Hot Springs, the city police would have them to help do tourist, law enforcement, things like that. So we gained the officer during the summer months, and the school would gain them during the school year. And this is just a proposal. This is day one of a much longer conversation. So,
How are you going to split the funds up?
talking expenses, we had a breakdown of it, but again, that's all depending on how we budget for it and the other two parties budget for it as well. And of course, before any action is taken, all the boards overseeing each governmental entity will have their approval on it.
And just to add to that, the superintendent asked if we would come to a school board meeting in April or May timeframe to help them prepare for the budget.
The school calendar here is different from ours, the counties, they operate a bit different than we do, so we definitely need to plan for it. That's it.
All right. The only things that haven't been covered, I wanted to let you know that per the discussion we had with Mr. Hanson last time, he did bring a key to that gate to City Hall. So we do now have a key, but they would like it to remain locked until we have a legal easement. But we do have a key. As you guys were notified at the last meeting, the lawsuit with Kroll is down to the last couple days before they could even repeal. So we're assuming that that lawsuit is finally complete, and I'm starting discussions again with Pete Lean and Sons and the FAA on a possible mining contract. The FAA is not available this week, so it'll probably be a couple weeks out before we actually get a meeting with everybody at the table. You brought up that foundation, Wes. Carol has given me some ideas on things that we can do. The city cannot have a 501c3, but we're trying to figure out how we can either use a existing one from some organization in the community or get someone to create one. So those are the things that weren't discussed tonight that we're still working on. And that's all I have.
I'd like to know when you can meet with Pete Lean and FAA.
I would too.
I do not have a firm date at this point.
When you have one.
Anybody want to? Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.